Hello, I am Woo-Ju, and I'm going to compare the ideas between Keynesian economy and neoliberalism. I'll start off the comparison by giving the definition of capitalism, then compare the two economic theories, Keynesian economy and neoliberalism. The definition of capitalism is as identical to what you learned last year. It's an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production and their operation for profit. To ease it up for you, this means that individuals can own something, make something, then sell, buy, use it with their own money. However, economists took this definition very personal, and there are dozens of theories based on capitalism, ranging from anarchist capitalism to modern capitalisms these days. But why am I comparing Keynesian economy with neoliberalism, even though there are many theories present? It's simple. Meanwhile, Keynesian economy suggests the intervention of the government. Neoliberalism politely asks that government to stand back on the economy. Also, these two theories with opposite suggestions were suggested in a row, which makes it even weirder, and I'm someone who loves your stuff. Just kidding. Those theories are one of the most important economic theories when it comes to learning economy. Now I'm going to talk about Keynesian economy. Keynesian economy was based on Keynes' theory in the 20th century. It suggested that the macroeconomic flow can overwhelm a person's microeconomic action. This means that governments can possibly regulate how people make, buy, and use stuff and sell stuff actively. The theory was realized by Theodore Roosevelt while suffering the Great Depression in the 1930s. Governments lowered interests and governmental investments to infrastructures were done, and important infrastructures like Hoover Dam were built during that period. As you can see, the Keynesian economy suggested governmental support on the economy. However, neoliberalism was quite different. It was triggered by government failure, which was shown by several oil shocks during the 70s and stagflations. The intervention of the government was only needed to overwhelm the flaws of laissez-faire, known as 자유방임주의 in Korean terms. Also, it tries its best to preserve the spirit of liberalism by ensuring liberty on economic activities. One fact is that this theory was used to deal against socialists. As I said before, the main reason neoliberalism was spotlighted was by stagflation. This neoliberalism regards international status as anarchy to preserve economic freedom. In this theory, governmental intervention only suggests the moral standards to a chaotic market. In Korea, this was implemented by former President Kim Dae-jung, and neoliberalism is still the main economic theory of Korea and of the world of capitalism, and is still being the standard of capitalist countries. I can't say which theory is right and which theory is wrong. In fact, the judgment of the theory being right or wrong is differed by the time and the social context when a specific theory was born. What I can tell, however, is that as time passed by, the theories were often gradually, often radically modified to an ideal form that people in that era needed. For instance, governments intervened during the Depression because no economic activities could be done without money, and money flow could be triggered by terminating the Depression. However, these days, we don't need that much of the governmental intervention because even without the help of the government's excessive intervention, our economy is rolling just fine. If our economy becomes abnormal and unstable again, then government's help is what we'll be looking for again. However, if economy gets better, more people would mind the government taking care of the economy. It's just like human life. We would like to be assisted to walk if we're toddlers, if they strained our ankles, or got so old. However, help isn't necessary for someone who can walk properly, isn't it? It's the same when it comes to the economy. Thank you for listening. This was the comparison between Keynesian economy and neoliberalism.